1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, we should be live now. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. I am live here with Armin Navabi, who is an ex-Muslim, founder of Atheist Republic, and also creator, founder of, and he's also an Iranian. That's what I was going to say. And that's one of the primary reasons we are here. And there are also breaking news happening right now. But before we get to that, quickly, Armin, why don't you just introduce yourself? And
you did. You already did. Let's get to the news.
Okay.
By the way, I'm also co-host of the Secular Jihadist podcast. Check out Secular Jihadist podcast. But let's get to the news because this is happening as we speak. Like, I don't know if we could like, I'm distracted by the live. Let people know you did a better job informing me what happened.
So we were just about to go live. I thought we picked a very bad moment because as we see the news, several missiles have just hit U.S. bases in Iraq, most prominently the Al-Assad base. So it seems like Iran also confirmed that they have just attacked U.S. bases, and the IRGC, which is the Iranian military corps, also issued a statement saying that if from the neighboring from the U.S. ally countries, any attack on Iran takes place, then there will be a severe retaliation, a severe military retaliation against all those countries. So Iran is basically at the brink of going to war with America as we speak right now. They have attacked American base. America confirmed that they are being attacked right now, and Trump is being briefed. We're waiting for breaking news.
So this is such a... I don't know if we could explain how big of an escalation this is. For the past couple of decades, United States and Iran only have attacked each other through proxies, through, small little attacks here and there. But this is when United States killed Qasem Soleimani, it was the first time that they took action directly, like on Americans, on Iranians. And now this is the first time. Like, remember, Iran's government always had this understanding that if it uses its proxies to take a few American soldiers here, take a few American soldiers there, attack some U.S. interests in the region, that United States will not retaliate with an all-out war. But so it was never, if you look at all the attacks on U.S. interests by Iranian proxies, it was usually not, out of the 300 terrorist attacks that's been done by Iranian proxies, only like less than 6 of them were actually done by Iranian citizens, right? Mm-hmm. This is the first time that we're seeing Iran's military targeting United States military. This is, and I don't know, Trump has no excuse not to retaliate. Like, it would be, I can't even imagine him not retaliating. Like, if this doesn't end up in an all-out war, I would be surprised. Like, I don't understand how we could get out of this, how we could de-escalate this situation. This is significant. I mean, this is such a miscalculation on both sides, by the way, because when Iran uses proxies to attack United States embassy in Baghdad, they didn't think that United States would retaliate in such a significant way to kill Qasem Soleimani, right? Yeah. That was a surprise for them, that was the retaliation, okay? They never expected that. And I think United States, Trump, when he killed Qasem Soleimani, I don't think they expected this retaliation. I don't think they expected such a big retaliation. I think they were trying to intimidate the Iranian government, the Islamic Republic. I keep trying not to say Iran, by the way, because if I say Iran, a lot of people from Iran are going to get upset. Like, hey, don't mix us with the government. Don't say Iran. They say, like, either say the Iranian government or say the Islamic Republic. So if I say Iran, please forgive me. I mean the Iranian government. Okay. Mm-hmm. So but this is such a miscalculation. I think both sides had an opportunity to de-escalate, and both sides are, I think, are being pushed by the people, by some people on their sides to, like, after the killing of Qasem Soleimani, the number of people in Iran that demanded revenge, the people on the side of the government, was extraordinary. The number of people that came into the streets was bigger. Like, I've never seen that many people in the streets of Iran. Maybe you have to go back 30 years with when Khomeini died. The number of people that came out for him, maybe that was the last time we see that many people in the street. So there was a huge display of anger by a lot of Iranian pro government Iranian people. Even many anti-government Iranian people were shocked by the numbers. They didn't expect it. Some tried to come up with conspiracies or excuses for why the numbers was this high, but you can't deny it. There seems to be a lot of support. But every time I watched a lot of videos from Tehran and other cities, when the reporters were asking the people in the street, people were like, when are we going to get a revenge? When are we going to get the revenge, right? So there was a lot of pressure for revenge. But the smart thing for the Iranian government would have been, I thought this would have been such a great opportunity for the IRGC to have a huge win against the United States, because they could have just pressured the parliament. I predicted that they're going to do this, and they did this right before on Atheist Republic. We were talking about this, and I said the smartest thing for the best outcome for the Iranian government would have been for them to pressure the parliament in Iraq, the Shia part of the parliament in Iraq, to push the U.S. military out of Iraq, and then the Iraq will be completely open for Iran to conquer completely, right? And this was such a great opportunity for them. And right after I said that, they did it. And the Kurds and the Sunnis, they boycotted that parliament. They didn't show up. And all the Shias in the parliament unanimously voted for U.S. military to leave Iraq. That should have been like, look, we took revenge. Look, they should have said that. That's it. They should be like, look, United States shot themselves in the foot. They gave us Iraq fully. That could have been it. And that would have been, they could have like, hey, look, Iranian people, we took revenge. And this was the best revenge possible, because we didn't even have to shoot a single bullet. And United States just gifted Iraq completely to us because of this. We managed to get so many people angry from so much anger built up against the United States that this wouldn't have been possible unless we could have used this Islamic narrative. Qasem Soleimani, he paid with his blood, and his blood was the expense the cost that we had to pay to get Iraq, to liberate Iraq from U.S. military forces. That could have been it. This wasn't necessary. I don't understand what they're thinking. Like, why are they doing this? Like, this is going to demand a reaction. Go on, sorry.
Of course. No. I just want to say let's share the news again. A summary of the news is that several dozens of missiles, reportedly ballistic missiles, hit U.S. bases in Iraq, bases where American troops are stationed. Iran has confirmed this. The Iranian military has said that it is their action, that they themselves hit American bases in Iraq for the first time. America also has confirmed that they are currently under attack by Iran. That this has been confirmed. Wow. That the soldiers are currently being attacked. Reports are very clouded on how many missiles, on which locations, if there are any deaths or any losses at all. There probably are. And reaction, how the United States will react is unclear, of course, at this point. Trump is being briefed on the issue. It's an emergency briefing. Trump said before that if Iran makes only one move, that Trump would target 52 targets in Iran that are very important to the survival of Iran. And the Iranian military also just said that they have indeed attacked America as a retaliation, and that this is only the beginning of a severe retaliation. And they have also warned that if countries allied to the United States attempt to target Iran in any way, that they will also be targets of severe military reaction. So this is the current news that's going on.
Right. So they're talking. This is such a bold move. Okay, because they're talking about the places around Iran where United States have military bases. So they're talking about Saudi Arabia. They're talking about Turkey. They're talking about Qatar.
Mhm.
But like, would Iran go to war with all? Because I can't imagine, for example, Saudi Arabia denying United States its military bases, right? Like Saudi Arabia is
Oh wait, yeah.
it's a U.S. puppet, right? Like if the United States wants to use Saudi Arabia's military bases to attack Iran, they will let them. So Iran is openly declaring, and Qatar as well, right? Qatar is like an Iran ally. So, but they have, even though they're an Iran ally, they have U.S. military bases in Qatar. They could use Qatar. Actually, it would be smarter for United States to use Qatar instead of Saudi Arabia, because what is Iran going to do? Iran is going to bomb its ally now, because and Turkey as well. Yeah.
Let me correct that quickly. The statement from the Iranian military is, we warn all allied countries of the United States that if attacks are launched from bases in their countries on Iran, they will be target of military retaliation. So it doesn't even matter whether those countries do anything at all. If the United States has stations in those countries, like in Turkey or Saudi Arabia or Qatar, for example, and if the United States launches an attack on Iran from one of those countries, then Iran will target that specific country. So this is a very wicked.
This is the closest, just in the past few minutes, Iran's Islamic Republic has gone closer to toppling than ever before for the past 40 years. Like, I didn't think it's imaginable. I think, like, I thought the whole idea of Iran's government falling, this government falling, was not going to happen in my lifetime, that it was a pipe. Now it could be a reality. I don't understand. This is like suicidal. Why would they do this? Why would they do this? They had so many things playing for them. Everything was in their favor. That tweet by Trump, I understood why Trump had to make a difficult decision to kill Qasem Soleimani, because after the attack on the U.S. embassy, if United States didn't respond in a strong way, United States would have looked so pathetic. Like, an embassy is your soil. Like, they attacked U.S. soil, and it demanded a strong response. But somewhat I understood that, it was damn if you do or damn if you don't. Like, if you didn't respond strong, you would look weak, and if you did respond, you're going to look like you're meddling. But that tweet by Trump that said that they're going to attack cultural places in Iran, that was such a stupid mistake by Trump, because that was the best tweet Trump could put out there to unite non-religious people with religious people in Iran against the United States. Because let me tell you, for the non-religious, anti-Islamic, anti-government, nationalist types in Iran, if the Quran, as Islam, Muhammad, those things are not sacred. You know what is sacred to them? The cultural, the pre-Islamic cultural heritage, right? So when Trump said that, we're going to attack cultural sites, they thought like, he's talking about Persepolis. He's talking about all those old, like, why would he say cultural? Some pro-Trumpists in Iran try to defend him by saying like, he means the religious sites. Come on, he means that like cultural, like Qom or somewhere like the. But that tweet, like, the thing is that the Iranian government was seeing that, look, the people are uniting against the United government. Like, if you looked at a lot of the funerals, the types of people that were coming out, a lot of them look very religious, but there were some very non-religious looking people coming out as well. Even some anti-government people were coming in defense of Soleimani, right? Because he was like a national symbol. So this was such a great moment for Iranian government to de-escalate. This was the time to de-escalate. Their revenge should have been a legal revenge by getting the parliament in Iraq to kick out United States military forces. That would have been the perfect revenge. This is suicidal. They have never been closer to being toppled than today. In the past few minutes, they went from it being impossible to topple to being very close to topple. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand.
You believe that this will actually end in Iran being defeated and in their government, in their regime being changed? Yeah.
I don't know, but if the possibility of that was 5% just 1 hour ago, it's now 50% now. I don't know how likely it is, but it's just went astronomically higher than if ever was. Like, I don't like United States has to respond to this. Like, I imagine this not getting a military response. That would be surprising if Trump would like, oh, okay, we responded, we took out your top general. By the way, he's not just Soleimani was not just the top general. He was the second most influential person in Iran after the supreme leader. The second top person in Iran, a lot of people think, is the president. The president is nothing. The president in Iran is just like a puppet. It's just a pawn. He has no role. The Zarif, the foreign minister guy, nobody. It was after Khamenei is this guy, especially if you focus on foreign policy, then this guy was the number one. This guy was, the whole Shia crescent, the Shia empire that Iran is trying to build, the vision of Khomeini after the revolution. The Islamic revolution of Khomeini was never meant to be an Iranian revolution. It was always meant to be an Islamic revolution that takes over the Islamic world.
Of course.
But Khomeini died without seeing that dream come true. Khomeini hated the idea of Iran. Khomeini hated nationalism. Khomeini was Islam over Iran, right? So that revolution was never meant to be an Iranian revolution. So, but he died, and after his death, his dream was coming true. The person that was building that empire was Soleimani. Soleimani was single-handedly responsible for making Khomeini's dream come true after his death, to export the revolution, export the Islamic revolution beyond Iran's border, right? So taking him out was a major game changer in Iranian politics, right? So that was a huge hit. But I don't. Yeah. So go on. Sorry.
No, just some news that are happening right now. The Pentagon confirmed that they have been attacked, and they are currently taking all kinds of measures to make sure that all U.S. personnel is secure. But we have apparently confirmed news that that at least 20 American soldiers have died in the attack. 20 American soldiers have been killed in this attack. This is brutally serious. And we also have Saeed Jalili, whom you are probably familiar with, who is a representative of the supreme leader of Iran, shared the Iranian flag on Twitter. Some might remember.
Oh, that's in response.
Trump posted the American flag after Soleimani was killed. And this guy, the representative of the Iranian regime, just posted the Iranian flag on Twitter as a response.
Wow.
So what they are saying, what they are meaning to say is, you have killed our Soleimani, our general, and we respond this way. We attack 2 of your bases and kill dozens of soldiers, and this is only the beginning. That's what Iran is trying to say here. And Trump said before that if they made only one single move, America would target 52 locations would end Iran. He basically said they would end Iran if Iran made only one move. So this is what is happening right now as we are speaking.
So what are the possibilities that we're going to go look at after this? Either both of them look out of this world to me. Either Trump doesn't attack. And when we're talking about a response, listen, when we're talking about United States responding, we're not talking about United States responding in Iraq anymore, okay? We're talking about United States attacking Iran on its own soil. That would be an escalation that will not be able to stop. That would be a chain reaction that will go to an all-out conflict. This is, I feel like, am I awake? Is this like a dream right now? Because I can't believe this is happening. But okay, so either Trump will not attack or he will attack, and both of them have very dire consequences. If he doesn't attack, he's going to look pathetic. right? And I don't think Trump will take that. I mean, he promised after the attack on the United States Embassy in Baghdad, he promised that something significant will happen. And a lot of people called it a bluff, right? In Iran, a lot of the politicians think like Trump is one of those people that talks a lot, but he doesn't do anything. He just threatens you and nothing ever happens. That was their image of Trump, right? Because Iran, think about it. Iran got away with what? Iran got away with bombing Aramco, right? In Saudi Arabia. Iran got away with harassing and attacking ships around the Persian Gulf, international ships. Iran took out a United States drone. No responses from the U.S. Then all of this, and there was talks from Washington like, oh, stop, and Iran was like, hey, look at these people, they're not doing anything. So when they attacked the embassy, they were shocked all of a sudden when Trump actually did something, right? So now that they see Trump does do something in response to their attack, I can't believe that so now they should expect something in response to this. What do you think there's going to be a response to this? Like, do you think I don't think it's going to be 52 places in Iran. That would be do you think because
no, I don't think that Trump was serious. To be very honest, I don't think that Trump was being serious when he said that 52 locations, 52 targets will be targeted if Iran makes a move. I think this is just something that Trump said because he's Trump, because he says such things. I don't think this actually reflects the reality. This only reflects his type of warning Iran, like, hey, we will destroy you. I think that's what.
But that's what people thought when he said they're going to do something significant after the embassy attack, right? People were like, "Oh yeah, that's just Trump again." Blah blah blah. He's not going to do anything. And then people are like, "Holy shit!" Oh, I almost swore. I know your audience doesn't like that.
You can say shit. It's no problem.
So no, but that's what now. Okay. So here's the thing. Trump has now a lot of legal opportunity to attack Iran, because the thing that stopped Trump from attacking Iran directly, going into all-out war, is that he used to before this attack, he legally required Congress's approval. He didn't require, unlike what people say, he didn't need Congress's approval for taking out Soleimani. Okay, there are some laws that he could have used for taking him out, right? And there are some gray areas, but he didn't need that. But there was no way that he could just command the army to go to war unless there's actual imminent threat from Iran. To go, he could now his hands are open, right? Yeah. So now Iran has given a gift to Trump that, hey, you don't have to go to Congress anymore. You could just attack us, right? So why would you give that? You removed all the barriers. You untied Trump's hand, and Trump is so unpredictable. I don't know what he's going to do next, but he might do actually what he said he's going to do.
Also, he said the number 52 because it was in reference to the 52 hostages that were taken when the Iranian Revolution happened. So
another embassy attack. So this is all of this is just happening is like deja vu, right? Because what happened 40 years ago after the Islamic Revolution, 1979, right? There was a chance even after the revolution, after the Shah was toppled, and the mullahs came to power, for Iran and United States to have some kind of a relationship. That relationship ended when shortly after the revolution was successful, a lot of students attacked United States Embassy in Tehran, and they took American personnel there hostage. 52 of them.
Yeah.
52 of them.
What they claimed was that the Shah went to America and America accepted the Shah, therefore proving that the Shah was merely a puppet of America, which is why America needed to be retaliated against, which is why the students stormed the embassy and took American hostages.
So this is why when the Iranian proxies attacked the embassy of United States in Baghdad, to a lot of us, it was like deja vu, right? It was like another embassy takeover, but it wasn't quite like that, because they actually didn't manage to go fully in, but it was just very much like that. But to us, that was a reminder of what happened in Tehran, but to Americans, to American politicians especially, the deja vu was similar to what happened in Libya, right? And the failure of Clinton to protect its embassy in Libya, and the ambassador being killed there, right? And this is why Trump came out and promised, like, this is not going to happen under my watch. I will defend our embassy, like, not under my watch. Like, unlike Clinton, who didn't defend, Hillary Clinton, who didn't defend our embassy, I will defend our embassy, right? Mm-hmm. So, but again, so I don't know. What do you think? Like, so Trump, what do you think? He's going to go directly attack Iran? Because if he does, he has to use one of the bases.
What happened here is that, it's kind of a pathetic situation for Iran to kind of to stand here like this. America attacked your general who was in Iraq, who was right across the border. So what you as Iran did was to attack bases in Iraq, which is very, very far away from America, and which is a place that America is almost pretty much done with. The next step, if America wants to respond to this, and it looks like with Trump in power, there might be a response. Iran might have even counted on the fact that there was such a great opposition to Trump making a move, even inside the American government, and they might have thought nothing will happen if we retaliate now, if we attack America now. But America might as well just attack Iran back, and that attack might go to one higher level, which is to directly attack Iran itself within its own borders. And the pathetic thing about Iran is that Iran cannot do the same to America. So I really don't know what they're thinking.
No, but the thing is that Iran doesn't want to do that directly on America's soil, because America has spread itself thin all around Iran, and Iran just could be like, you know what, we don't even have to leave home, and we could attack United States. Like they say, like, it's a lot more costlier to United States. United States obviously could crush Iran, right? But at what cost, right? Like, if a homeless person comes and attacks you, and you have like guns and everything, but it's still a threat to you. Like, it could stab you a couple of times before you take it out. It's not a price that you're willing to pay, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, United States has the world's greatest military 10 times over, but 100 times over, but again, it's easy for Iran. Also has managed. Iranian government also has mastered the playing the art of asymmetrical warfare, right? Like Iranian's government has. The United States has put a lot of very, very expensive toys right in their backyard for them to take out with very, very cheap weapons. You know what I mean? So, and the willingness to pay the cost for Iranian government is a lot higher than the cost that United States government is willing to pay, right? Because for Iranian government, it's about survival, right? So, that's a weakness of United States military. You have a lot more expenses to pay. You're far away from home. Iran has a base there. Iran is right in their neighborhood. They have a lot more allies. They have a lot of more guerrilla type groups, a lot more proxies all around. Like, it's really hard it's not a traditional like army versus army warfare, right? It's like big army, giant ships, tanks everywhere versus people that you don't know if they're civilian or not civilian, and you don't know where they're going to come out of. Small little boats could take out a giant, like, you just have a couple of bombs in it and just take out one of your giant ships. Like, all those asymmetrical warfare is something that Iran has mastered in the past few decades, right? So yes, if United States, if it's if it's like one-on-one conflict, of course Iran will lose, right? But the government will topple, but United States will pay a price much, much greater than the price they paid for the United States Iraq war. Right. This is like, think about everything that happened after the United States Iraq war. All the soldiers, then the ISIS came, Al Qaeda came, Al Qaeda grew, And then we had like Syria fall, all the refugees took over Europe, the alt-right, we had like governments changing because of all the refugees coming in, like all of that consequences. Like how many years after the United States Iraq war we're still seeing the consequences? This is going to be 10 times bigger than that. Like when United States attacked Saddam was at its weakest it has ever been. But Iran's military, even though it's very small compared to United States military, right now Iran's military power is at its greatest that it has ever been, right? So during the 8-year war between Saddam and Iran, they were pretty much equal. That's why it took 8 years, right? But then ever since that, Iraq went down, and Iran went up, right? So now you're talking about a much, much greater military might that you have to deal with. This is going to be a disaster for the United States. Of course, it's going to be a bigger disaster for Iran, but it's going to be a major disaster for the United States as well. But I don't know how you're going to stop this right now. Like I'm trying to imagine a scenario where like how to de-escalate this. Can somebody explain to me what de-escalation in this scenario is going to look like?
I would love to see some updates about what is happening. The thing is that there is seemingly currently some silence regarding news on this issue. We see that America has apparently contacted the Iraq's prime minister to I don't know to see what is being done to communicate a response or anything. It seems that the attack was apparently known earlier in the day, that a U.S. representative for Iran was given a note right after the attack.
Wow.
I don't know.
I'm looking at footage of the attacks as well.
Yeah, they have released footage. Iran, of course, wants to brag about the attack right now. They want it to be. This is the strategy of Iran right now. They want the attack to be spoken of everywhere. They want to share the images that they have released apparently through their own channels, and they want everyone to see that this is the big retaliation. This is the severe retaliation that you will receive for messing with us. This is the message they want to send. They have issued warnings against all U.S. allies, issued warnings against America itself. They said they implied that this is only the beginning by saying that the severe revenge has begun. And the funny thing is, one news source shares here that Mike Pompeo said yesterday that Iran's retaliation warnings were just little noises, that they weren't to be taken seriously. But today this has happened. And no one expected this to happen. This is a major move.
This is such a major escalation. Honestly, I'm trying to put I'm trying to put myself in the position of the IRGC, the Islamic Republic's Revolutionary Guard, and see why would they do this. Like I'm trying to, because usually they're extremely strategic. They have been very strategic for the past 30 years. They have outmaneuvered United States, Saudi Arabia, and every other player in the region. They have defeated ISIS in many battles, and they have taken some very strategic positions. They even outmaneuvered Israel in many situations, right? So, but this seems like this is like such a Trumpian thing to do. This is like, I don't understand. The interesting thing is that, like the attack, when Iranian government attacked Aramco through their proxies or whatever, however they did that, that was such a strategic move. That was such a measured, small attack that put Saudi Arabia in their position. That's how, ever since then, because Saudi Arabia was begging United States to go to war with Iran, right? But ever since then, Saudi Arabia realizes that how vulnerable they are. And how if Iran wanted to, they could destroy Saudi Arabia's economy. And ever since then, Saudi Arabia has been lobbying United States not to go to war with Iran. They completely did a 180 on that. And the interesting thing is that they were submitting to Iran. They were talking to Iran, and they were like, okay, let's talk peace after the Aramco attack. And so, Soleimani was in Baghdad because they were the report is that they were going to meet for negotiation, peace negotiation with the Saudis. That was his mission there in Iraq, right? That was his mission, right? So everything was looking good. And this could have been a win-win for both Iran and United States, right? If this is what the Trump supporters do, right? So if the Iraqi parliament voted to move the U.S. troops out of Iraq, right? You know what? Both Iran could have gone home and be like, look, this is the revenge that we wanted. Iraq is ours now. We kicked out Iran. We kicked out United States without even attacking anybody. Look how smart, strategic we are. And Trump could have come and said, look, the deep state wouldn't have let me move out of Iraq, right? But I promised you, American people, that we're going to leave Iraq. But these people wouldn't let me. So I took out Soleimani, and the Iraqi parliament removed our permission, and now we have no choice but to. We're forced to leave Iraq. So I outmaneuvered the deep state or all that nonsense. You could say something like that. So both of them could have declared a win. Trump could have been like, I promised you that we're going to bring back the troops home, and I did it. And Iran could be like, look, Iraq is ours now. This would have been a win-win for both of them. But the losers are the Iraqi people. Okay, they're losers in all of these situations. You know what? Actually, we should talk about this, because nobody is talking about the poor Iraqi people, where their country has been turned into a chessboard.
Nobody cares anymore.
Nobody cares. Like, Iraqi people are just sitting there, like these two giants are just like attacking each other, and their countries are like, is this like your playground right now? And the Iraqi government has turned into Iranian puppet. Every single decision that is made there is based on ISIS or Iran's positions or United States positions. Nobody is like asking like, hey, what do the Iraqi people want for their own country? Like, that's completely been ignored. Like, there are some Iraqis that say like, hey, United States should leave. Some Iraqis are saying, oh, Iran should leave. Some Iraqis are saying, how about you all leave and let us just manage our own country and bring it back up. But the problem with that, yeah, go on.
No, go ahead.
No, the problem with that though is that a lot of people argue that without United States help, ISIS might come back. So that's another argument as well. Yeah.
So I don't understand Iran's strategy, Iran's position.
I don't understand
position right now. The thing is, according to news, there are several maybe numerous Iraqi casualties. So Iraqi personnel has died here as well. And there's apparently a meeting being held between American and Iraqi representatives to talk through the whole process. And it seemed like Iran was getting closer to settling the situation with Iraq. So
this is bad, because after the attack on Soleimani, Iraqi government was a little bit like, okay, United States, you need to leave.
Yeah.
Iran is our neighbor. Iran is our ally. You guys are like killing too many people here. Get the fuck out of. Oh, sorry, I swear. Get the F out of here. But now Iraqi government might be like, okay, Iran, you're overstaying your welcome. Like, why would everything was looking good for the Iranian government? I don't understand. Why is this huge blunder by them? I really. By the way, one thing that frustrates me, a lot of hot takes by these anti-US imperialist people that are making excuses for the Iranian government and their meddling. That needs to stop, right? A lot of people, I don't think your audience is like that, but
no.
A lot of people in my audience and other places, they come like, they seem to be almost defending the Iranian government and all those crimes because they're so anti-US that they're excusing, Soleimani and everything that Iran's government is doing.
It's a common syndrome that people have who want to oppose, who vocally want to oppose America.
Yeah, I mean, everything is black and white to people. Something is either fully evil or fully good. Like, if I hate United States, then I must love everything that is against the United States, including the Iranian regime, which is absolute nonsense. I mean, these people are the same people that say like, oh, what is the United States doing in Iraq? Why are they meddling there? Why do we have soldiers there? But they never ask, wait, what is Iran doing in Iraq? Why does Iran have soldiers in Iraq? It's not their country either. Like,
that's actually one of the things that we wanted to talk about initially, before this whole mess started, before Iran hit American bases. We wanted to talk about why people keep blaming America, but what Iran's plan in the region actually is.
Right. So Iran in the region. So Iran has looking. And again, this is completely based on ideological lines. Like, if you look at the Shia crescent that Iran's government has managed to build in the region, people are like, oh no, this is political. This has nothing to do with religion. Oh really? Then why is the empire that Iran is building exactly where the Shia majority populations are? Why are the borders of this crescent ends exactly where Shia majority places turn Sunni? Right? Like, look at all the places that Iran is trying to fully control, right? It's Iraq, it's Lebanon, it's Yemen, right? It's Syria, it's Bahrain, it's the Shia parts of Saudi Arabia, which is the scariest thing for Saudi Arabia ever since the Islamic Revolution of 1979, because the Shia parts of Saudi Arabia are exactly where all the oil is. This is why Iran has been such a huge nightmare for Iran for the past 40 years, right? But
for Saudi Arabia,
yeah. But yeah, and they have been successful. They have been extremely successful. They have been using the Shia, the Velayat Faqih version of Shia Islam as a way to. It's like a pyramid. They build the Shia, the Shia ideology is there. Then what you build on top of that, which is a little bit smaller than the original base, is the Velayat Faqih version of Shia Islam, and then the people that are loyal to Tehran. And this is very interesting. Like, we have people, like, I didn't know this until I left Iran, right? I was shocked to see people in Lebanon and that women without hijab that have Hezbollah posters on. Holding Hezbollah posters. Like, what the hell is happening? I saw people in Iraq that have Khamenei posters. When Saddam fell, and I saw in Baghdad Khamenei posters go up in Baghdad, I was like, wow, these people have invested in this. Like, they had the roots that Iran has in the region. They have been working on that for a very, very long time. So when Saddam fell, it was like a gift that the United States just gave to Iran, right? And this could have been the second part of that gift giving of United States to Iran if Iran's government had played its cards right? Because Bush gave Iraq to Iran, and now Trump could have been completely given it to Iran. But I don't understand this blunder, right? So, but this is another thing why that tweet from Trump that said we're going to go attack your cultural sites was a major blunder, because like the one thing that unites the religious types in Iran with the non-religious types is this empire building strong, because see, I'm going to say this, and I know I have a lot of Iranian fans that might hate me for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyways. Iranians are extremely racist, okay? They're extremely racist. It's one of, in fact, just like the rest of the world. But they are extremely racist against Arabs. Okay?
Just so you're not alone, I'm a Turk, and the Turks are very racist too. Anyways, go ahead.
So if there's one thing that unites the religious people in Iran with the non-religious people in Iran, is their hatred for Arabs. Okay, and also the revenge that they're waiting for the Arab invasion of Iran and the destruction of that glorious Persian Empire. Those are the non-religious types that are always waiting for that revenge one day, right? But the interesting thing is that all the areas in the Middle East that are majority Shia, if you draw a map of that, it matches perfectly where the Persian Empire used to be, the Sassanid Persian Empire used to be, right? So building this empire, the Shia Empire in the Middle East, which was being done by Soleimani. The Soleimani was responsible for building the Shia Empire. He was just a one man. He was it. He was the plan, right? So this was playing both narratives, right? So you have the religious Khamenei diehard fans one side, you have this anti-Islamic Persian, glorious Persian pre-Islamic empire people on one time, right? And you could appease them both. The plan was to appease them both by saying, oh, we're going to build a Shia empire, or no, we're going to build this empire, pre-Islamic empire. We're going to take back what was taken from us by the Arabs. Like that was the idea for these people, right? So this is why when you saw the Soleimani's funeral, Qasem Soleimani's funeral, that's why you saw some people that were even against the Islamic regime admire this man, because they wanted the strength. They had the Persian pride, this nationalistic pride. So Qasem Soleimani managed to reach out to people beyond just the religious groups, to the people that saw him winning battles, defeating ISIS, killing these Arabs, and showing like strength around the area, bringing back the empire. And people, those anti-Islamic people, some of them tried to look past the fact that he was a Muslim, look past the fact that he was religious. And I saw posters of him with like Aryan symbolism behind him, and like some symbolism that Soleimani himself would have hated. Like I saw a picture of him like with the like monarchy symbolism, as if he's like a Hachameneshi warrior of the glorious Persian Empire, right? And like it was weird because before I left Iran, these two camps were completely separate. These two camps hated each other, right? The religious types and the nationalist type, right? But this empire building, especially when there's a foreign attack, this is what unites people in Iran, the religious type with the non-religious type, a foreign threat, right? And that's why the tweet by Trump, when he said he's going to attack the cultural sites, that was the worst tweet that he could have sent, because that was the best thing for him to unite both the religious types and the non-religious type in Iran against the United States, right? And that's why so many people in Iran that were pro-Trump, that wanted Trump to come liberate Iran, were so desperate to go out and interpret the tweet in a different way. To be like, no, Trump doesn't mean, he's not bicultural, he means religious. We should be happy. He's going to take out the religious places. We should be thanking him. But a lot of people, but he didn't say the religious places. He said the cultural places.
Yeah, that was
that was a big thing. But yeah.
Well, what is very dominant, what I see in Iran is just like in many other countries, just like in Turkey, for example. I'm familiar with how in Turkey national propaganda is often being done, and it looks like in Iran it is quite similar, but much stronger, much more fervent. But in Iran, there is this strong sentiment of constantly telling the people, of the regime constantly telling the people that Iran is under attack by the enemy. By the enemy picture. This is a regular social psychology issue where oppressive regimes, authoritarian regimes, introduce an enemy picture, and this enemy picture has to be introduced all the time, reintroduced all the time, and shown to the people all the time, so that the people, even if they hate you, even if they are divided among each other, unite for you and to listen to you in moments like these.
Right. So it's kind of like let's say a husband and wife are fighting, right? And then all of a sudden the neighbor comes and picks a side, but like picks the side of the husband. But then the wife says, "No, you don't get to say that to my husband. This is a fight within the family," right? So the hope, again, this hasn't been working for Iran's government, but that's what their plan is, right? So because the division in Iran is still huge. Like a lot of people passionately hate the government. A lot of people in Iran passionately want to take down this government, right? But then the United States makes it easy for Iran to come and unite people around a certain cause. Like, for example, when United States said like Iran can't have nuclear power, right? a lot of people that are against the regime in Iran, even back then, said like, wait, why can't we have nuclear power? Right. So that was something that the government was using as a way to even get the people that were against the government to be like, look, don't be against me. Look at these people. Look at the sanctions, right? When people are suffering from the like economic crisis in Iran, and they get angry at the government is constantly trying like, look, it's not us, it's the United States. Let's be angry at the United States together. Come on, don't be angry with us, be angry with them, right? But now that tweet by Trump was very helpful to make that narrative. But this attack is not helpful to anybody. I don't know, because nobody's gonna come out as a winner. United States is not gonna come out as a winner. As this is gonna, if they go on full on conflict, they're gonna pay a price for this that they are not willing. Then they cannot afford the price of a full-out war, man. The United States is not in a position right now. This is going to be the end of the end of the United States. As a world power is something that we saw like happening in the next 50 or 100 years, but this is going to speed it up like tenfold, man. Like, I don't know. This is not going to be good for Iran. If United States and Iran go to full-out war, this government is going to topple. And if this government topples, it's not going to be like a lot of Iranians are hoping like, oh, this is going to be great. We're going to have a secular democracy now. We're going to have elections. We're going to have secular democracy. We're going to have multiple parties, all representing different people. Yay, the government topple. Everything is rainbow and butterfly. This is what a lot of Iranians think. That's probably not gonna be that easy. You know what's gonna happen? The Kurds in Iran are gonna be like, oh great, the government toppled, we're gonna declare independence, right? The Turks in Iran are gonna be like, hey, this is our chance to declare independence. The Arabs in Khuzestan, they're gonna be like, this is our opportunity to declare independence. The people in Sistan Baluchistan, the Baluch in southeast of Iran, they're gonna want, you know what? They want to declare independence, right? And the Persians, the Pars people from that always thought like, oh, Iran is Pars. They're gonna remember like, holy shit, there's a ton of other kind of people here, and they're not gonna want them to separate.
Of course, Iran would also be occupied in that meantime, so it would probably turn into another Iraq, I guess.
They're gonna be civil war. They're gonna be like all out civil war. They're gonna be and a lot of Iranians that thought that they want secular democracy are going to switch to want another dictatorship, because they're like, you know what, democracy means these people have a choice to leave. No, we need like a dictator, because their national pride is going to kick in, and they're going to be like, we don't want to give an inch of our soul. We don't want to lose. We don't want Iran to be cut into 7 different pieces.
This is why this is bad. You know, that there are some people, people who support Trump's decision, or people who think we should violently go into Iran and change the government. I mean, people have these ideas, but this is not the way to do that. I mean,
no.
Iran has a terrible regime. It has a terrible, oppressive, totalitarian regime. But the right way to do that is not to go there and forcibly topple the government, because if you do that, then you will have confirmed their propaganda that outer forces, that external forces want to come and destroy the country and want to steer the country. And especially if we know it all. I mean, I totally love what America gives me. I totally love what America gives us, and I totally love how the West goes. And I would prefer living with American influence to living with Russian influence, whatever it is. But we all know how it goes when America goes into a country and tries to change the regime. It doesn't go well. It doesn't go well for America. It doesn't go well for the people in there. It doesn't go well for anybody. We see that in Iraq, and on top of that, no one comes out happy from
except the people that are selling the weapons. They come out very happy.
After dozens of years, after a dozen years, after that war, after such an occupation, 2 dozen years after such an occupation, even the ones who strictly supported that and who said, well, this war is necessary. Okay, wars are bad, and the Iraq war was bad, but this war is necessary. Those people will also say that was a terrible decision, and that ruined our country, and that ruined our people, and that destroyed our psychology. The same people will say that. So this is really not the way. If you want governments like, if you want regimes like Iran, nations like Iran to be changed for the better, there is a better way of doing this besides going there and forcibly doing it and destroying it and then making everyone angry and having them create another totalitarian system over and over again. This is just not the way to go. I just want to get something off my chest very quickly before I let you go on, Armin. I'm currently checking out on Twitter Iran versus USA, and most of what I see is memes. Memes. People have these. These people have this stupid habit of joking about World War. Okay, I like joking about sad things, but people actually, many people actually want to go on social media to get information, to get the latest news, to get more sources for news. But then you go on the hashtag Iran versus USA, and then you see memes. You see these complete unfunny normie memes. This retarded nonsense that people are posting in the name of being funny, posting memes about Rihanna and Ariana Grande and all that stuff. I mean, stupid 70 IQ people who follow Ariana Grande's daily life, or who follow the Kardashians or Kylie Jenner or whatever those fucking stupid people are called, come here and want to post memes and videos in response to a situation where we are possibly at the brink of war, if we want to believe all the stuff that we couldn't believe until 2 hours ago. People need to stop doing this. I mean, people really need to stop being so dumb, because the rest of the world is not that dumb, and the rest of the world really, it is really agonizing to the rest of us who want to go online and see how and see news, and then we encounter completely stupid people, degenerate people, polluting information online. And these are the same people who support actions by Facebook and Twitter to clear up the internet and get rid of the pollution of information. The same people go here online and post these stupid memes that you would only find funny if your intellect consists of what Kim Kardashian's body shape is and what her measures are and whatever it is. Anyways, I just wanted to get that off my chest. Excuse me, and Armin.
That's it. No, but I just want to bum you out a little bit more about what might happen if a lot of people in your live chat seem to be cheering on this Iran's government being toppled, right? So just be careful what you wish for, because when Iraq's government fell, we had ISIS, we had an immigration crisis, right? If Iran, think about this, ISIS and Al Qaeda are Sunni, okay? The Shia militias in the Middle East, they are way bigger, way more funded, way more organized, way more trained than ISIS and Al Qaeda have ever been. A lot of people think that the terrorists are mostly Sunni, but no, they're not. Most funded terrorist groups are Shia. The reason why Westerners don't recognize that is because their attacks mostly are in the region, right? It's the Sunni terrorist attacks that usually shows up in Europe and United States or in other places, right? But the Shia militia groups usually kill Sunnis, actually mainly just Sunnis, right? And so Sunni civilians. So Soleimani is like usually branded as a hero because he defeated a lot of ISIS groups, and he did. Like he won a lot of battles against ISIS. But what they don't tell you is that a lot of Sunni civilians are also killed just because of the accusation of being ISIS, just because they're Sunni, right? So these are terrorist groups. And if you just open that can of worms, these are terrorist groups that will be a lot bigger, a lot more organized, a lot more operating like military group. Like these are not just like the ISIS members that were doing terrorists. It was just like young kids that were left their parents, and they're like, oh, just give me some bombs, or just give me a gun and show me where to shoot at, put some bombs on me and tell me where to go blow up myself up. Now we're talking about people that fought wars part of military groups, part of military operations, have years of experience in wars. They are, well trained in Iraq-Iran war, in the wars against with Hezbollah, against ISIS, against Israel, against ISIS, against Al Qaeda. They are very well trained, and now you're gonna remove their government and unleash them on the world. Like, I don't know what that's gonna look like. And what you have to understand is that, a lot of the people in Iran are against the Islamic Republic of Iran, but you shouldn't underestimate. There's also a lot of them that are for it. Okay, both sides try to make it seem like the other side doesn't exist, or it's just like the anti-government people in Iran make it seem like the vast majority of Iranians are against the government, which is not true. And the pro-government people in Iran also try to make it seem like the vast majority of people in Iran are for the government. That is also not true. Okay, there are from a population of 81 million Iranians, there's at least 10 million of them that are for the government, right? And
more
from this,
probably.
Yeah, I'm just coming up with the most with the most conservative estimate. And there are, I don't know how many of these people are willing to die for the government, right? And this is going to, if you remove this government, and if that underlying ideology and those people still exist, you can't just put some secular democracy on top of it and be like, those people are not just going to go home and be like, oh, okay, I guess we have a new regime now. I guess the government is not Islamic anymore. I guess this is the new way now. No, that's not going to happen. Okay. And if you think that, it's sad that a lot of people think that it doesn't matter if it's just happening in the region. And it doesn't affect you. First of all, a mess that big is going to come at your door somehow, okay? A mess that big is going to show up at your door somehow, okay?
It will create waves of terrorism as well, just
to say. But even if it didn't, we're talking about human lives, right? We're talking about human lives. You shouldn't care about human lives only if it's at your doorstep, right? Mm-hmm. This is why I didn't like it when a lot of people and Western media keep saying that, oh, Sunnis are mostly terrorists, not the Shias. That's because you only care about Westerners dying. If you actually care about people dying, then the Shias also show up on your terrorist list, right? Because they kill a lot of people in the region. That's the terrorism that they do. But again, and that's my frustration. People only care when people that look like them start dying. And this is not just Westerners. Iranians are like that too, right? So, for example, in Iran, a lot of people that hate Qasem Soleimani, were dancing. So a lot of people are loved him, and a lot of people hated him. There's not that much in between. Like among Iranians, like a lot of people in the West are only right now realizing who Qasem Soleimani is. Mm-hmm. Among Iranians, this guy was famous. This guy was like the James Bond or the villain of Iran. Okay, either the villain or the James Bond. And people either loved him and adored him as a hero or hated him as a criminal. Right? There's not that many people that were like, yeah, I neither hate him or love him. You're either, most people are on one side of this, right? But so what was I getting at? Oh yeah, so the people that said that, the people that hated him, in Iran, they only point out to the Iranians that he killed, right? Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. The Americans that are trying to say that Soleimani was a villain, was a terrorist, they count the Americans that he killed. And this is not just a problem with Americans. The Iranians that are trying to show how bad Qasem Soleimani is, they only counted the number of Iranians that he directly or indirectly killed. They don't care about all the Afghan children that this guy, Soleimani, through his proxies, sent to one of the proxies, the Fatimiyun proxy, which is the Afghan branch of the Quds force. Take so many child soldiers fought for Iran, not even for their own countries. They're Afghans, right? And they send them to war and they get killed in war. More than 5,000 killed for Qasem Soleimani proxies. Or all the civilian Sunni people outside of Iran that Soleimani killed, which is way, way more than the Iranians that he killed, or indirectly is responsible for killing. He's more responsible for killing non-Iranians. But again, everybody just cares about the people that look like them, which is weird.
Just news coming in is Iran, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard just threatened that that if let me check this before I give wrong information. Yeah, if the United States responds to these missile attacks that just happened, then Iran will attack America inside America. That's what they just said. So
wow.
we were just talking about how that could not happen or how they don't want to do that. But
these people are lost their minds.
The IRGC just said if they respond to this missile attack, then this time we will respond to you inside America.
Why would they even need to do that?
They're right now threatening to attack America within America's own borders, the soil of America, the American.
This is suicidal. This is absolutely suicidal. This could be the end of the Iranian regime. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Somebody explain this to me. This is beyond me.
This is on the IRG's Telegram channel,
wow,
on IRG's Telegram channel. They just
this is the dumbest thing IRGC has ever done. The dumbest thing they've ever done. This is their emotions. This is their emotions taking over their. Usually the IRGC is a lot more strategic. They're a lot more patient than this. They are a lot. I don't understand this. This is absolutely suicidal. Yeah. Some people in your live chat are saying fake news.
I want to check that.
Iran has missiles. What? Your live chat is pretty active, by the way.
No, according to CNN, that news just came in, and they took it from Iran's Telegram channel. I'm trying to find Iran's Telegram channel. I cannot find it.
Yeah, it's probably true then.
It's probably true. I mean, CNN wouldn't report such a major fake news. That is that is I think out of question. So this is apparently the threat they made. Iran literally threatened to attack America directly. Not some US base in Iraq. Did I just say Iraq? Iran literally threatened to attack America on its own soil, within its own borders. So they threatened to attack the American people. This is getting very serious. If it now happens that America responds to this missile attack by Iran, then we could indeed see an all-out war. So.
Right. By the way, a lot of people in the live chat keep saying, like, "Oh, this is Islam." There's I don't
this is beyond Islam. This is more than Islam.
Yeah, but it is Islam, but it's more complicated than that, right? Like, I mean, I don't like, unlike some other people that say religion has no role in this. I don't agree with them. There's a lot of religion plays a big role in this, but you can't just be like, it's, just be like, it's Islam, it's Islam. Like, the situation is a lot more complicated than this. There's a whole bunch of things that is influencing this, right? But Islam has a major role in this. People on the other side are like this as well. Like people that, people want to simplify things into just, if there's a lot of moving parts and it's too complicated for them, they just want to have an answer for everything that just explains everything for them, right? So people will say like, America is always evil, and everything that happens that is wrong with the world is America's fault, right? Mm-hmm. There's one dimensional, like one answer for everything. Oh, there's a problem here, America's fault, American imperialism or colonialism or this, like white supremacy. Some people say some people's answers to everything is white supremacy, right? So on our side, people are like, oh, this is Islam. Of course, this is Islam. Islam. Of course, Islam. No, there's many things happening here, right? There's geopolitics, there's economics, there's Islam, of course, is one thing. There's the power play between Shiaism and Sunnism. There's a whole bunch of things that are happening there. They don't be like, is Islam. And again, I don't deny the fact that Islam has a role, unlike a lot of people that do. A lot of people try to undermine how much Islam has an impact. Some people exaggerate how much Islam has an impact. So you have to just look at it in more detail.
Moreover, you see that Iran is directly using Islam constantly as a motivator, as a talking point. So of course it plays a role.
So Iran actually has been, until recently, been very strategic on what narrative uses where, right? So, and again, it depends on which part of Iranian government we're talking about, because Iran's government has many different competing sections that play against each other as well. Like, it's not just Iran government is just not just one thing, right? There are competing narratives that comes from the government, right? But if the most strategic parts of the government realize that if internally you shouldn't really play the Islam narrative that much, you should play the nationalism narrative. Okay, those people usually lose in Iran because there are some hardliners there that don't think that's the right idea, but that's the most strategic thing to do if you want to get people to support you against foreign enemies. Outside of Iran's borders, right, like within the region, in places where there's Shia majority, you play the Shia versus Sunni card, okay? You play the Shia superiority narrative. In places where they're Muslim, but they're not Shia majority, you play the anti-Israeli pro-Palestinian narrative. Those are the three different narratives that Iran should, if they wanted to be the best strategic minds in Iran, know to play in different areas. They use different narratives, right? So, but again, it's not as simple as, like, I saw somebody in your live chat saying, oh, they're waiting for Dajjal. This shows that they have no understanding. Shia Muslims really don't talk much about Dajjal. They talk about Mahdi. They talk about Mahdi, exactly. They talk about Imam Hussein. They talk about Mahdi. By the way, again, they have Dajjal, but they don't know much. Most Shias don't know about it. Like, that's mostly a Sunni thing.
Do you want to elaborate on? You mentioned earlier. What was that? You mentioned earlier about the system. The what's it called? The wilayat.
And you don't forget. Say, like, Armin, Islam is not just a religion. It's a complete governmental system. Armin, wake up. Wake up. I have been saying that forever. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, thank you for waking. Thank you for waking me up to something that I have been preaching for the past 15 years. But yeah, go on.
Armin has been saying this. So do you want to elaborate on the vilayat faqih that you mentioned that earlier? People probably don't exactly know what that is about. I think it's very relevant to the topic, and also the Iranian obsession with the Mahdi. I don't know.
Right. So I don't know how detailed you want to get into this. So
probably pretty briefly. I don't know.
Okay, so Shia. Okay, there's a lot of more details to this, but I'll just tell you that Shias were not meant to be in power, right? Shia Islam is meant to wait for the Mahdi, so the 12 are Shia Islams. They believe in 12 imams that came after the death of Muhammad, one after each other, to rule the Islamic community after Muhammad's death, right? So you have the first Imam, the second Imam, all the way to the 12th, but the 12th Imam disappeared when he was just a child, for him to come back at the end of times and make all the world submit to Islam, right? So his name is Imam Mahdi, or Imam Zaman, as they call him in Iran, right? So the Shia Muslims are waiting for the Mahdi. The problem is that Sunnis, after Muhammad died, Sunnis were always in power. They were conquering, they were dominating, and the Shias were always oppressed. And the Shia narrative was, we are the oppressed ones. We're not going to be in power until the Mahdi comes back, because the Sunnis are the fake Muslims, the Shias are the real Muslims, and Mahdi will come and make all things right and bring the true Islam back in power. But until then, we're not going to be in power, right? Other people will rule over us. Other people will oppress us, right? But the thing is, when in the 1979, when the Islamic Revolution happened, all of a sudden they were in power. But this went against the Shia narrative, the Shia ideology, that they shouldn't be in power, right? So what Khomeini did, he borrowed some ideas from some other imams before him to come up with this concept of vilayat faqih, which I think the English translation would be the guardian of the jurist, I think, yeah, which means that the imams will rule over people in place of Imam Mahdi. They hold the government for him and make things ready for his return, right? And a lot of Shias hated this. This divided the Shia world. Even if you go in Pakistan, for example, among the talk to the Shias in Pakistan, they hate they curse the Velayat al-Faqih. They curse Khamenei. They curse Khomeini. They think these people have ruined Shia Islam. They think that Shias shouldn't be in power. They should wait for the Mahdi, right? This is why some Shias imams like Imam Tawhidi says like Islam is compatible with secularism, because, which is not, but he says because Shia Islam tells you that Islam shouldn't be in power, and Khamenei are wrong, and his Islam is compatible with secularism. But the fact that you could just invent something willy-nilly, this is a problem when you deal with religion. When you have magic on your side, whenever you have a problem, poof, you could just make something up, and now everything is different. And now a theological narrative that you had for 1400 years, you just switch it like that. You know, you don't have logic, and you don't need logic. You have magic, so things could change. You're a lot more when you're not limited by reality. You're a lot more flexible with your narratives, right? So you just invent something new, and you have Velayat Faqih, and now you can rule over people even though you're Shia. So that's the concept of Velayat Faqih. So, and this idea of Velayat Faqih was to turn Khomeini into a pope-like figure among Muslims, among Shia Muslims at least, right? And Khomeini's dream never came true, right? He wanted to unite all the Islamic world, and he died with that dream not coming true. But now Khomeini is now picking that up, and it was working. It was working. Like you could see that Iran's influence was growing in the Middle East. It's still growing in the Middle East, right? And Khamenei still sees himself as not just the leader of Iran, but the leader of his Islamic world. A lot of Muslims disagree with that. Even a lot of Shias even disagree with that. But that's the idea that they're trying to spread around the Middle East. It's a unity based in Tehran, like a central power center from Tehran that is dominating the Islamic world. That's their dream, and that's the idea. This is why a lot of people they have been very successful. This is something that Saudi Arabia has been so unsuccessful at. Saudi Arabia tried to, after the 1979 revolution, Saudi Arabia saw that Iran was spreading its ideology or everywhere. So what Saudi Arabia did in response to that is try to spread Salafi Islam all over the place, and they started building madrasas. That was in response to Iran. So all the terrorists that you see spreading around the world, Pakistan becoming such a shithole, is because of Iran, because of Saudi Arabia building madrasas. If you look at the number of madrasas in Pakistan, it went like the graph was just skyrockets. Like before Saudi Arabia building madrasas in Pakistan, most people didn't know the difference between Shia and Sunni in Pakistan, and now they realize that, oh, we're Sunni, we're supposed to hate the Shias. They learned that. But the problem with Saudi Arabia spreading Salafi Islam was that, unlike Iran spreading Velayat Faqih, they had a leash over it. These people would die for Khamenei. But Salafi Islam that Saudi Arabia spread, they weren't loyal to Saudi Arabia, right? Because they built the schools, but they forgot how to, they look at the Saudi regime, they're like, you're not Muslim, you're just the money. But the Velayat Faqih loyal people outside of Iran, they look at Khamenei, they're like, yes, you are exactly the leader that you say you are. But the Saudis, they're just the money people, right? The Wahhabis they were the real Muslim, but the House of Saud has not much to do with Islam. They just use Islam, and the Salafi people around the world saw that. So the terrorists that they built, the Saudi Arabia built, they turned on them. The ISIS people, the Al Qaeda people, they're also anti-Saudi. So Saudi Arabia created a Frankenstein monster that came out back at Dr. Frankenstein himself, right? Unlike the dogs, the proxy dogs that Iran has on a leash, which didn't backfire on them. It worked pretty well for Iran.
Yeah, well, the problem also with the problem with the whole with Saudi Arabia's Saudi Arabia's strategy of spreading Wahhabi Islam in place of Shia Islam, and spreading Saudi Arabian influence is it's also a problem for the rest of us, especially for Western people. I tried to make clear several times. I tweeted recently about how Iran is not how provoking Iran, or being so strict, so harsh against Iran. I thought about it before, and I thought, is it really necessary? I mean, is there not a different way? And many people say Iran is a threat, and Iran is evil. Iran is an evil regime. It needs to be toppled. It needs to be defeated. But the thing is, you have Saudi Arabia. You are closely allied to Saudi Arabia. Your governments are close friends. They cuddle with Saudi Arabia. They sell weapons to Saudi Arabia. They fulfill all their little dreams. They go and protect their oil fields. They do everything for Saudi Arabia. And while your governments are doing this, Saudi Arabia has institutes that are paid for by Saudi Arabia in the most prestigious universities in America, in Canada, in Germany, in the UK, everywhere across the West. Saudi Arabia is in so many universities, in hundreds of universities. Saudi Arabia has their people and their institutes. Most often, not even implicitly, not even under any secret name, very openly, by the name of a Saudi Arabian royal person, or of a prince, or whatever it is. They fund institutes that you have in the heart of your patriotic countries, of your countries that you are proud of, that you think are liberal democracies, and would therefore never fall to Islam, and that Islam is over there, that you need to defeat Islam over there. No, in your countries, in the hearts of your countries, Saudi Arabia is directly involved in paying millions, billions of dollars, and funding people that spread the idea of Wahhabi Islam. We have examples. I don't want to drop any names right now. I think I want to publish a speech about. I want to make a video about that quite soon. Hopefully, if I ever get to it. It's more of a political thing. But you have names that before came out and said in America, for example, that slavery is not bad when it's done in the name of Islam. That Islamic slavery is not a bad form of slavery. That it's a good form of slavery.
Wow.
That it's a slavery of dignity, and that Muslims should come out and embrace the slavery that Islam does, and they shouldn't be ashamed to admit that Islam contains slavery, because the Prophet Muhammad had slaves too. And some people might know who I speak of, but that there are these players of Saudi Arabia that around the world spread Islamic traditionalism, that spread Wahhabi Islam, and that don't like your freedoms and your countries at all. And they do all of that because they are so closely allied to your Western nations and your Western governments, and they are allowed to do all of that. So think that through.
By the way, the person that says all these problems come down to political Islam, I will just one thing I want to correct. It's not political Islam. It's just Islam, because there's no such thing as non-political Islam. Islam is. I don't like the term political Islam, because the term political Islam suggests that there is a non-political version of Islam. Anybody that studies Islam knows that Islam is political by its very nature.
Exactly.
But one thing that I want to add to what you said is, both Obama and Trump are war criminals, because both of them sold weapons to Saudi Arabia knowing that it was going to be dropped on innocent civilians in Yemen.
Yeah.
Both of them did this. Okay? And this is against the United States' own constitution to do this. Civilians. They both sold weapons that Saudi Arabia used against ports in Yemen to use starvation against children in Yemen, use starvation as a weapon of war. That was what Americans bombs. And not only they sold the bombs to Saudi Arabia to drop these bombs on the civilians, they even fueled their plane while in right on top of the sea before they went and bombed the civilians, right? So United States funded and supported the greatest humanitarian crisis in our lifetime, which is now happening in Yemen. that most people don't talk about. Most people don't talk about it because they're poor and because they have no oil and nobody cares about them. Okay, and this is what Obama and Trump both did. They supported Saudi Arabia in the war against civilians, and they're both war criminals.
Okay. Some news according to CNN. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said on their Telegram channel that if America or if any source attacks Iran directly on its own sources, that they will readily attack Dubai, United Arab Emirates, the city of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, and they will attack the city of Haifa in Israel as a third wave of operations. This is
this is what shows asymmetrical warfare, because no matter how much military United States has, it's very easy to take out Dubai for Iran. Did you know? It takes no amount of godly power could you have to stop a couple of missiles hitting Dubai. It's right in Iran's back, neighborhood. It's right there. Yeah. So this is why when United States has the biggest military in the world, but they're spread all over the world. Iran has a much smaller military, but they're only there. All of it is just there. So it's much more focused. It's just all there. And there's so many expensive toys around them to just take out with very little expenses. They prove that when they prove how much they could crumble the world's economy, but just by going after Saudi Arabia's oil refinery. There's nothing you could do to stop that. This is why no matter how strong the United States is, they could put mines in the Hormuz Canal. They could just put you only need a couple of speedboats, a couple of mines, just go into the Hormuz Canal and just drop them there and go back home. You know how expensive that's going to be for all of the world's economy? Because you know how much of the world's oil goes through that canal? You know how difficult it's going to be, and how many weeks it's going to take for you to clear that canal off of the mines, and those days that the oil is not running through that canal. Do you know what that's going to do to the world's economy? This is a mess. And you could have the strongest military. You cannot stop something like that. Even if you're stopping them, even if you're attacking them and stopping them, the fact that you're having a war right next to the Hormuz Canal is going to really devastate the world's economy.
Okay, what's happening right now is that Trump is apparently preparing a speech that he will probably do soon, and according to an Iranian news channel, Tasnim News, according to the news channel, Hezbollah, the Iran's external military and terrorist organization, Hezbollah, is going to attack Israel in the case of any retaliation that takes place on the soil of Iran. And at the same time, Tasnim News also claims that Iran is about to launch a second wave of attacks at American bases in Israel.
What the hell is going on?
According to both The Guardian, Independent, CNN, and I'm looking at Tasnim News itself right now. Tasnim News claims, which is an Iranian news channel, claims that Iran is starting a second wave.
Qasem is a pro-Iranian government news agency.
Yeah. They're claiming that the Iranian military is currently starting a second wave of attacks on U.S. military bases, or they didn't actually say on U.S. military bases. They just say they're currently planning a second wave of attacks on U.S. targets, and they have issued new warnings that if America retaliates, that they will hit U.S. allied targets. If America retaliates through launches from any allied country, that they will target those allied countries, and every country in the region is basically a U.S. ally. And they also said that if America attacks Iran inside its own borders, then they will attack Dubai, which is huge, and Israel, the city of Haifa in Israel.
Hitting Dubai would be devastating, and it takes like 6 months. The whole Dubai is like so tiny. I know. It's just right next to Iran. They're like, how could you defend Dubai?
But
It's
the
going
thing
to
is,
be
the weight of Dubai is so huge in the world.
huge. Yeah.
It is a tiny space, but it's so huge in the world, and no one would tolerate that.
I actually heard about that, like that threat before. Like a lot of people were talking about the asymmetrical warfare that Iran could play against the United States, and Dubai was mentioned a lot of times because it's just sitting there, and it's like a treasure, like a huge, like little wealth city full of like all the world, like a lot of world's economy is tied to it, and it's just there for Iran to be like, boop, and just take it all out, because it doesn't take that much to take out that entire city.
This is crazy, and people are now citing the Dubai threat that is currently the biggest thing that is being talked about.
Yeah, how are you going to defend that? Like, again, if you defend Dubai, what else are you going to do? How are you going to defend like all the Saudi? You know, the drones that took out Aramco, right? Which reduced their oil production to 50% of what it was. That was done by the cheapest drones imaginable. Like, those were really easy to make, those drones, like a couple of thousands of dollars, right? So you think about it. Saudi Arabia had bought the world's most expensive defense mechanism from the United States to defend its oil assets, right, at Aramco. And Iran managed to take them out with the cheapest. Like, we're talking about billions of dollars worth of defense investment versus tens of thousands of dollars worth in drone technology. Managed to take them out. Think about the US drone that Iran took out, right? That was supposed to be an undetectable drone that Iran managed to take out in the air. Again, United States does have the biggest military, but Iran has mastered the art of playing asymmetrical warfare. It's you could be a big beast, but if you're spread all over the place, and you have assets and interest groups everywhere and allies, you can't be at all places at all times. Even if you have the biggest military, is your biggest military going to be all of it in Dubai, and all of it defending the homeland, and all of it defending Iraq, and all of it defending the Syria at the same time? You can't do that. That's why this is how the British Empire fell. The British Empire fell because they were a big empire, but they spread themselves all over the planet.
You say that, but the British Empire was literally everywhere. They were really physically everywhere. That's the issue. America is represented everywhere. So I don't know. It looks very difficult, very strange, and also different from that situation to me.
It's just costly. The similarity is that it's just too costly to maintain all of this.
But the thing is, you're saying that it's hard for America to defend itself in such a situation where its stations in Dubai or Israel or wherever would be attacked, some of which are only allied nations that don't necessarily have bases in those cities. But could Iran really ever even do this?
No, they can't win. Iran would lose. Obviously, Iran would lose, but it will take. Yeah,
there is a German word that I want to use, which is called lebensmüde, which means they are tired of life. They're tired of living. This is basically what Iran looks like to me right now with those threats.
Okay, but let me tell you something. Okay, United States wasn't able to defeat Taliban. Taliban is still a thing. After how many years of war?
To be honest, I don't believe that defeating Taliban was the end goal of America.
Okay, Assad. Okay, United States goal was definitely to remove Assad. We know that for sure.
But Assad as Russia, so.
Yeah, but you had Russia and Iran on one side, and you had United States, all of Europe, the rest of the civilized world on the other side. Okay, plus Turkey also at that time was on the other side, right? So United States, with all its military might, wasn't able to take down Assad. And Assad and the Syrian army is a fraction of what Iran's army is right now. Okay? So I'm not saying United States can't do it. United States can do it. United States can, but think about Saddam. United States easily took down Saddam. But look at the cost that the United States had to pay for it for many years after that, right?
Forget about the cost. That's why I'm saying that people will regret this. Americans will regret this. But if America went to a direct war against Syria, to an actual war against Syria, Syria would be done with within a few days. The issue is that they cannot fight Syria directly because they cannot directly have a war with Syria.
Again, I'm not saying Iran will not go down. Iran will go down if there's an all-out war. United States someone said Iran will also. Iran will go down fast, okay? But it will take out a whole bunch of organs, like with its claws while going down, right? Like very important organs, and it will go down with a major, like by inflicting a major cost to the United States, even after it's dead. You know what I mean? Like the cost will continue for many years to come after to the United States.
Okay.
Anyway, let's go follow the news.
I was going to. A summary of the latest threats is that they want to attack more bases. Iran wants to attack more bases in Iraq. Iran wants to send Hezbollah on a mission to attack several targets. They also want to basically activate Shia fighters in Iraq. They said they would, as a retaliation, if the United States did anything on Iranian soil, they would attack the city of Haifa and the city of Tel Aviv. Apparently, they said earlier they would also attack Tel Aviv in Israel, and they would also attack Dubai. So what Iran is saying here is that they are ready for a massive war that would not be restricted to Iraq and Iran and America. It would include basically the entire Middle East and countries and regions much further beyond that. But
by the way, this is not going to get to World War III. For people that are saying World War III, that's an exaggeration. Russia and China are not going to come defend Iran against the United States.
No, let's make it clear. Russia would never. Russia said before in previous conflicts that they would be on the side of Iran, but Russia would bail on Iran immediately. They would never ever take that risk and screw up their own economy and their.
They would, like the era of world wars is ended. The world powers are too much. Their economies are too integrated for them to go to war with each other. They will always use proxies against each other. It's too costly for all sides to go to war with each other. You're not going to have
China. China could never go to war. China is currently very much concerned about how to develop their industry without failing their economy massively. They would never go to war. They don't have the means. If China went to war,
they have the means, but they don't want to pay the cost.
No, what I mean by they don't have the means is that they do have the means. They do have the means to go to war, to send troops throughout the world. But if they went to war right now, China would probably implode within the next decade. So they cannot afford that. So
predictions
of world wars are unrealistic.
No, it's not gonna happen. If United States and Iran go to all-out war, my prediction is that Iran will be defeated relatively fast. It will take longer than what they did to Saddam, but still, earlier than a lot of Iranians expect. Iran is going to be cut into little pieces. There's going to be all-out civil war for years to come in Iran. It's going to be bloodbath, and there's going to be another wave of mass immigration heading Europe's way if that happens.
No one wants that. Not even the advocates of that want that.
So oh my god. Let's go. Okay, so I think let's go follow the news because I want to see this. I want to see these videos now. By the way, if you guys enjoy, can I plug our show?
What
can I do? Can I plug our show? Sure. No, if you guys like this geopolitical mixed with religion discussion, if this is the kind of stuff that you enjoy, the podcast is that me and Ali Rizvi, my co-host, talk about. It's called The Secular Jihadist. In fact, the episode that you should check first is the one that we had Ridwan on. That was a really good episode, right? So
that's me.
So you guys should check out the Secular Jihadist podcast, and also Atheist Republic. Also, if you want to see more weekly news coverage as well. But secular jihadists is more this kind of discussion.
You can find the link to Atheist Republic right down in the description. If you want to check that out, you can go do that. It has been in the description. I didn't add secular jihadists, but I can do that at some point.
The reason why why I'm saying secular jihadists is because your audience is mostly like Islam related. Like Atheist Republic is mostly anti all religions, Hinduism, Christianity, Islam. My secular jihadist podcast, I think, will be more of the cup of tea of your audience, because it's more around Islam, but more from a geopolitical perspective as well.
By the way, there has been a no news. Just to remember to use the like button. I just want to read a summary that comes from The Guardian. I usually don't like The Guardian as a news source at all. I hate it. But they have done us a favor by putting a summary here. So if I could just read the summary basically quickly. This is from The Guardian. For readers just catching up, here's a recap from The Guardian's Michael Safi in Beirut and Julian Borger in London. Iran has launched more than a dozen ballistic missiles at US and coalition military sites in Iraq in retaliation for the killing last week of top General Qasem Soleimani. Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq's Anbar province, which hosts a US contingent, was hit at least 6 times, the US military confirmed. The Pentagon said at least one other base in the northern city of Erbil was targeted in the attack, which commenced around 1:30 a.m. local time on Wednesday, 10:30 p.m. GMT. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, of which Soleimani was a member, issued a statement saying the brave soldiers of IRGC's aerospace unit have launched a successful attack with tens of ballistic missiles on Al-Assad military base in the name of martyr General Qasem Soleimani. There are also unconfirmed reports of missile attacks elsewhere in Iraq. This is what happened. Afterwards, they didn't do any more summaries, but afterwards, Iran also said that if America if America retaliates to this attack in any way, that they would target those countries that America uses as a base to launch attacks on Iran. So they explicitly said that they would attack U.S. ally countries if they are used in this conflict. And they also said that if America attacks Iran directly within its borders, that Iran would then attack Dubai and Israel as a response. They explicitly said they would attack Iran and Israel in a military act as a response if America decides to retaliate within Iran. Iran knows, of course, that they cannot attack America directly, which is apparently a threat that also came tonight. But therefore, because everyone knows that they will probably never be able to attack America, that's why they issued a threat saying they would attack Dubai, the city of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, and also the city of Haifa and the city of Tel Aviv in Israel, which are very important targets.
Yeah, so a lot of people might not know Dubai is the part of the United Arab Emirates. That's the country. So, the UAE, which Dubai is the city of, and has mostly been allied with Saudi Arabia against Iran, right? And Saudi Arabia and UAE and Egypt were always angry with Qatar, because Qatar is supposed to be one of the Arab countries that sides with them against the Persians, right? But Qatar took a lot of pro-Iranian positions. But the UAE more recently was recognizing Iran's dominance in the region, and took the first step towards Iran recently to go and be like, okay, we recognize you guys as a dominant power in the region, let's be friends. And Saudi Arabia was very angry with the UAE, but more recently Saudi Arabia also started following their lead, right? But so it's very interesting that the IRGC is now targeting Dubai, given that the UAE was almost starting to be apologetic to Iran. Yeah.
They were distancing themselves from these policies. By the way, another update is that the White House just declared that Trump is not going to deliver a speech tonight. Apparently,
what?
Yeah, he's not going to make a speech tonight. Apparently, they want to talk it through, to go with a strategy to see how the whole thing develops. Apparently, there is serious stuff going on. I would say, to be very honest, I thought if Trump is going to deliver a speech tonight, then it would look much less serious than it is to me. Trump is reportedly not going to address a speech, not going to address the people right now, because the government is currently coming together and talking about what is happening and what is going to be done. And the government probably doesn't want Trump to say anything that would affect the course of what is happening right now, because
this means it's very serious. Like the fact that they managed to get Trump not to speak, it means like a lot of people, a lot of more powerful influencers than the White House itself are contacting the White House because they want to make sure that things go right. Because this is a big deal. This is I was gonna come today and tell you that the killing of Qasem Soleimani is one of those events that people were like, we look back at it as like one of those moments where we say like before and after, or remember when that happened, like all the events before that is an era, and the new era. I was thinking Qasem Soleimani killing was going to be like one of those key moments in history. Like, as soon as it happened, I realized it's one of those key moments in history, but I didn't know that it's going to be this big, like this. But I knew it was a game changer. I knew it was going to change everything in the Middle East, but this is way bigger than I even imagined.
Non-Iranians don't fully understand, or we don't fully understand the impact of this, the impact of Qasem Soleimani being killed. But for Iranians, Qasem Soleimani is a very, very massively huge character, and you would say, that's his killing means a lot to Iranian people. This is why this is getting such a huge reaction, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least I hope I hope as we speak we won't go to war, and I hope it won't happen. It won't go that far. I hope things will de-escalate. I just don't know. It just looks. It just sounds even strange to say. I'm saying de-escalate, but how could it possibly de-escalate? I mean, America seems to be pushed into a position where America needs to respond to Iran, because that was what was being said. That's what Trump said. That's how everyone perceived it so far, and everyone in the world would expect America, the most powerful country in the world, to give Iran a response, because this was unacceptable. If America now doesn't respond, how does that look in front of the world? But on the other side, do we really want America to respond? Because if America responds, what is going to happen? Iran says they will attack Israel and Dubai, and this is going to be a huge war.
Which country do you think United States is going to use? If they're smart, I think they will use Qatar, because they have military base there, but Qatar is an Iranian ally. But Qatar allow United States to use their military bases there. But that would be the most ideal base for United States to use, because Iran, it would be very unwise for Iran to attack Qatar, right? So I wonder which base they're going to use, and if the base that they want to use, if the country would allow them, because almost every country in that region wanted United States and Iran to both stop. Turkey didn't want this war. Even Saudi Arabia didn't want this war, unlike before anymore. Qatar didn't want this war. So are they going to be like, okay, come United States, use your bases here to attack Iran? That's going to be very interesting to see if there's going to be any form of resistance. And if they do do an attack, what I want to see, what type of places they're going to attack. Like, are they going to attack any of the military bases? I don't think they're going to attack any of the cultural sites, like Trump said. That's actually registered as a war crime. So I don't think they're going to do that. No. But what key assets are they going to take out? Are they going to take out economic stuff that is going to devastate the economy, or just focus on the military, or they're going to focus on the nuclear, the places that they enrich uranium and stuff? That would be, we'll see what's going to happen. And if they do retaliate, what is then Iran is going to do? Because then if I can't imagine the United States not retaliating, and then I can't imagine if the United States retaliate for Iran not to retaliate. This is just going to keep going. I hope not. Go on.
The Iranian news, Tasnim news, also apparently just claimed that that Shia militia within Iraq started their own attacks on U.S. bases, but apparently we don't have any confirmation on those news. It's just what Tasnim news claimed from Iran. And previously, as said, they said that there would be a second round of attacks, but so far we don't have anything on that. That was about 25 minutes ago. Those news came in. Trump is not going to give a speech. There is still not an official number of killed American soldiers as far as I see and I know, but unofficial numbers are that at least 20 American soldiers were killed, and Iraqi personnel was killed too. If I'm mistaken on the number of dead people, of dead soldiers, please correct me here. I can't follow any. I can't find any credible news on that. There are just people talking about it so far, and the American government is currently silent about it. The only thing they have confirmed is that American bases have indeed been attacked, but what is going to happen, what is going to be done about that, America is currently completely silent, which is very eerie to me. And national security officials have left the White House for an emergency meeting. Yeah.
By the way, what do you think about the nuclear deal that Trump pulled out of? And now a lot of people are going to point out that looks like that was a really bad idea.
I don't know if that was a bad idea. It is a hugely complicated topic that we could never possibly go through here without talking for 2 hours about that too. But it's a very complicated topic.
But as of today, all the people and we're not gonna go into the details, but all the people that suggested that pulling out of that deal was a bad idea today are going to repeat that a lot. Say like, look, this is the result of not this. We had it good. Everything was working. We were bringing Iran to the negotiating table. Things were working out. We had a good deal, and Trump went and ruined it. So that's something that they're gonna say.
But would you really say it was a mistake, looking at the fact that Iran did not just keep by retaliating against an attack or by just a continuing proxy war? They have all out attacked American bases in Iraq, claimed the attacks, which is an act of war. This is literally an act of war, and they have also threatened to target the city of Dubai, which implies civilian death.
Yeah, but the argument is that they were changing the nature of Iran through those deals to another country that will cooperate with the rest of the world. That was the point of that deal. And now we turned a more wilder, crazier, more aggressive government now.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think the strategy behind, I think the mind behind pulling out of the deal was that Iran is not really sticking to the plan, and even if they are sticking to the plan, even if they are going by the plan, if they're going by the denuclearization plan, that Iran is at the same time continuing their expansion in Iraq, in Afghanistan,
but the argument is that the deal wasn't meant to deal with one thing at a time. Like the deal was meant to address the nuclear issue, not the expansion issue.
But the claim was that Iran was just stalling everyone while
So the nuclear deal, they were adhering to everything to the deal. Like they didn't, like the deal that they had. They said like, so the argument is, again, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. The argument is that if this deal was successful and we held our side, then we could have now had other deals for more sanction reliefs regarding their expansion policy, right? If we show them that, look, this worked out for you, look, you don't have a nuclear weapon, you don't enrich your own uranium, but now look, your economy is prospering because we could reduce all the sanctions. Then we could go like, hey, now that you saw how good this was, let's make a second deal for more sanctions relief if you stop your expansion. You see how good of an experience you had with that, right? So the first deal was was only addressing the nuclear aspect of Iran, but not their expansion policies, right? So for the people that say that, that we should have removed that deal because they were expanding and doing crazy stuff around the Middle East, like, yeah, but that deal was never addressing that.
Yeah, I by the way, I'm also only playing devil's advocate. I'm also saying that the claim behind pulling out of the agreement was that Iran was stalling the world and was
it just made Iran's government look really good, unfortunately, around the world, because it looked like Americans like, look, they made America's government look really bad. Like, when Iran's government looks like they're abiding by the deal, and United States government can't abide by the things that they already signed agreements on it, and now they're attacking it just I don't want the Islamic Republic to have such a winning narrative on their side. And United States, I just think they just gifted them such a winning PR. It was a PR gift internationally for Iran, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well,
let's end this here.
There is a thing going on in the Arab world and the Iranian world. There is a claim going on that tonight's attacks were planned and earlier communicated to the United States. It's something that Middle Eastern journalists keep spreading. I see here Saleh al-Baidani, who's spreading that Iran previously told America, told Washington D.C. through different means that they would attack certain U.S. bases, and that they even told which bases they would attack.
Well, why wouldn't they if they knew? Why wouldn't they evacuate the base?
The thing is also we only have unofficial numbers of how many U.S. soldiers died. We don't actually have confirmed numbers of how many people were killed. So their claim is that no one actually died. That Iran previously told America that they would attack certain bases just to publicly in the face of the world and their own nation, make it look like they made a befitting response for killing Soleimani. And that America apparently emptied its bases hours before the attack. But this is just a claim that is going around
let's not spread it unless it's verified, because this could be like a major conspiracy theory.
I want to add that Middle Eastern journalists are very unreliable people. You people suck, Middle Eastern journalists.
They're good ones. They're good ones and bad ones.
As a source of reliable information, Middle Eastern journalists, on average, really suck compared to the rest of the world. So I wouldn't necessarily believe this. For now, what we know is that Iran attacked U.S. bases in Iraq, and that dozens of U.S. soldiers died, and that also Iraqi personnel died. And Iran, just to summarize this again, Iran said that if America retaliates by using U.S. ally bases in different countries, that Iran would attack those countries, and that if America attacks Iran within its own borders, that Iran would attack the city of Dubai and the city of Haifa in Israel, or the city of Tel Aviv.
I've been to Haifa and Tel Aviv.
Oh, nice.
Why Haifa? Haifa is like a lot of Arabs live there, Muslims live there.
Yeah. I don't know. Strategic. I don't know. Anyway, this is currently what it looks like. So these are the news. I think we should end it soon. You have
I have some other podcasts coming up, and I want to also catch up on, watch some footage on what's happening and read some analysis. But let's this was crazy. This was wild, man. I didn't expect coming on this live stream while this whole thing breaking as we speak. This has been an interesting experience.
I know we were kind of saying we planned this just to speak about Iran's motivations, but then we're going to be live while we're going to war. It's crazy.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you for having me on your channel. This is I miss talking to you.
Me too.
Yeah. By the way, yeah, just for people that on my side or your side that want to keep make us hate each other, we're friends, okay? You're not gonna be able to separate us, no matter how much you think like, oh, why you have him on? Oh, he's crazy. Armin, why are you talking to him? He's like that or that. We disagree with each other, but we really enjoy talking to each other. So you guys could fight with each other in the comment section, but we enjoy each other's company.
No, seriously. We disagree on some levels. Armin and I would disagree on certain issues. We came together to discuss those issues also in some would say in a heated way. I wouldn't say that. I say we were quite friendly and quite nice to each other as always. Sorry. But I really enjoy talking to Armin. I really enjoy having calling him a friend. I really like having him here. So thanks again, Armin, for coming here.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Always a pleasure.
All right. That's it. Thanks everyone for joining. Keep up with the news. I'll go offline. Armin, you said you're going to be somewhere else live after this?
Yeah, I'm gonna be on Secular Jihadist podcast live in about 1 hour and a half. 1 hour, exactly 1 hour and a half with Ali Rizvi. So, and then there's a couple other places I'm going to be live. I think tomorrow I'm going to be on Seth Andrews talking about the same topic. And also I think I'm going to be on Sargon Novakaz's channel as well, if everything goes well. So
wonderful.
But yeah.
Wonderful. There's Putin is currently trending, so I thought Putin said something about this issue, but no, he did not. So okay, everything sounds okay. Anyways, let's hope there's not going to be a huge conflict. Let's hope there's not going to be lots of deaths. Let's hope that there is no war, because some people might think that such a war would be necessary, but I would certainly share my opinion on this and think that that this war would be devastating for everyone, including the people of Iran, including the people of America, and all the nations that are in between that will suffer from that. And let's hope that this will not happen, and let's hope that everything goes well. Thank you so much, Armin, for joining me. Thanks,
no, thank you for having me. And if you want to, by the way, if you're free, come to the live stream in the 1 hour and a half from now on Secular Jihadist YouTube channel. You should come and comment in the live chat with if you're free, like come and check us out, me and Ali.
I'll probably.
By the way, me on Secular Jihadist, people try to separate me and Ali as well, because people think I'm like this alt-right person, which I'm not, and they think like he's like a leftist social justice warrior kind of type. So they keep telling me like, Armin, why are you hanging out with Ali? And Ali like, Ali, why are you hanging out with this alt-right dude? But why
are you hanging out with Ali Rizvi? Ali Rizvi is a leftist liberal snowflake.
I hear that so many times.
I say it too. In fact, Ali Rizvi, if you're watching this, or if you want to tell him, Ali, you are a leftist liberal snowflake. Don't cross me. So tell him that later. Anyways, thank you, Armin, for being here. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
And good night, everybody.
Bye.